That's my
similar to
Makara
debating.
Tours voice.
You watch her?
I watch her!
You watch her? You guys watch her?
Yes! Alright, it's recording, All right, hello everybody. Today on the show we have Titus, who was once part of the Homeschool Model UN Exco team. So Titus, before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about what Model UN is about?
Sure. For Model UN, which also stands for Model of United Nations, it's actually a place where individuals get to express their points of view or stances in the context of current affairs. And so in a homeschooler perspective, we actually have a Homeschool MUN club where individuals or homeschoolers, we all come together to discuss current affairs among fellow other homeschoolers. So that's where we get to nurture our debating skills as well as knowledge on current affairs, even better.
All right, so to demonstrate what MUN is, we are going to be running a MUN debate, correct?
Yeah, for a mock debate.
A mock debate simulation. So I will be playing judge between Titus and Cayley, and the topic is going to be on China's recent 1-hour ban on video games for students in the country. So this debate, just a disclaimer, China, if you're watching, this debate is not actually representative of what our actual views could be. It's just to simulate what goes on in a MUN event. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. So today we have two delegates. The delegate on my right, which is Cayley, has the stance that China's limit is achievable, while the delegate on my left has the stance that it is not. The delegate on my right will now present their stance on their introductory speech.
That was quick.
Delegate, your time starts now.
Okay. People should limit their screen time, and it is possible to do so. And it's better because the kids will concentrate on their work more, and it's definitely possible because the government can use like positive and negative sanctions. Like if you don't control your kid, you're going to go to jail, and just make the parents do it because the government can't like pop in all the time and tell you what to do. So you should make the parents do it. Yeah. And then the other thing is when people buy computers, they can I still have 1 minute. When people buy computers, they can the government can install control things. Like, you know, there's like parental control things which parents can use, but they can use it on a larger scale and then just like stick it in the computer when it's sold, and then you can turn it on depending on how old your child is, and then it'll limit the gaming time to 1 hour. And China is really good with technology. I bet they could do that. They blocked everybody on the firewall anyway, so they should be fine.
Delegate, you have 37 seconds remaining. Would you like to make any final points, or would you like to...
No.
Oh, so...
Yeah. You just say you the time to the chair, then she'll
Yield the time, or would you like to yield the time to the chair?
I yield the time to the chair.
All right, sick. Now, the Titus... The Titus...
Titus delegate shall not speak.
Delegate from Titusville.
The Titus on my left. All right, so the delegate on my left will now make their stance on why the China 1 hour limit is not achievable. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
So this delegate believes that the achievability of attaining 1 hour limit for each child is not possible because though China might have imposing rules and is able to have certain parental controls or even a certain software that is able to monitor throughout, there's also means to weave around that system. In particular, this delegate believes that in the aspects of the VPN or inclusion of other internet technologies that allows deviation from the current implementation of the installments that I've just mentioned, it's actually possible to so-called violate against the 1 hour limit. In addition, China isn't a small country. It's definitely of a country with feasible and of a certain surmountable distance with, and definitely have quite a huge population. So it's definitely difficult for China to perhaps monitor every single family. It is not impossible, but it's definitely difficult to do so. Therefore, this delegate believes that it is not achievable in the meantime to attain this 1 hour limit. Thank you.
Delegate, you have 15 seconds left. Would you like to make any final points, or would you like to yield the time to the chair?
I would like to yield the time to the chair. Thank you.
All right, so we will move on. We will now move on to the next segment. Delegates will now have 1 minute to make their point. The delegate on my right will make their refuting speech on why the 1 hour limit is possible. You may begin.
Do I have to say this delegate?
Yeah, you can say
Okay.
address yourself as this delegate instead of I.
This delegate believes that the VPN only controls the stuff you access on the internet, which is like, it's like a wall. No, not the VPN. The firewall, which the VPN goes over, is the firewall can control what you go on the internet. So like specific website, it prevents you from visiting those websites. However, there's probably a way that you can like hardwire the internalness of the computer so that it can't play game. Like it'll just shut down when you play too many games. And then this delegate also thinks that all the computers come from somewhere, so you can just kidnap them at the source, and then wherever they're distributed, they will be controlled anyway. So, yeah. And like if the government was like that adamant on it, they would probably have like a lot of people to do this, which I feel like they won't. Yeah. Okay.
Delegate, you have 3 seconds left. Would you like to make any more points? Or open to points of information or yield time to the chair?
I would like to make another point.
All right.
Is this 3 seconds? Yes, no more points.
All right.
Yeah, can. Okay, in this case, you were supposed to have points of information, but Cayley hits 3 seconds, so I think it's okay. We just move on. You the time to
Point
chat.
of information again.
Means that I get to ask a question. Yeah, but it's okay. I get to ask. I'll say my points in my refuting speech.
All right. The delegate on my left will now make their refuting speech as to why this China 1 hour ban is not possible. Delegate, you may begin.
So this delegate has heard the delegate that believes in the achievability of the 1 hour limit and agrees to a certain extent. Definitely, it is possible to maybe have a VPN, or most VPN function in such a way that it only overlaps the firewall. However, knowing the technological advances these days, it is possible to also illegally bring laptops or devices from other countries that might not have this specific rule imposed or implemented into their system. As such, as mentioned in my introductory speech, it is possible to weave around these barriers and to mitigate them into something that is still able to possibly violate against this 1 hour limit. Therefore, this delegate believes that because there are many ambiguous routes to take, it is still unattainable to achieve this 1 hour limit for this current period of time. Thank you.
Delegate, you have 8 seconds left. Would you like to make any more points, open to more points of information, or yield the time to the chair?
I would like to yield the time back to the chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we have addressed both stances of the delegates, and we will now move on to the concluding statements. The delegate on my right will make their concluding statement. They will have 1 minute.
The delegate thinks that it is possible because you can control the computers. It's like parental control. It works, right? And actually, if it doesn't work now, it'll work in the future. Because if you instill fear in your citizens, they're going to listen to you forever. And when these kids who've been controlled their whole lives grow up, they'll teach their children. And then they will listen to it because it's the only thing they know. They'll never know anything more than 2 hours more of gaming every day. But at some point, you probably have to deal with a rebellion. But never mind that. Thank you.
Delegate, you have 26 seconds left. Would you like to make any more points?
Oh, no, you don't
Oh,
say that.
no? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh no, we don't do that here.
oh no, we don't do that here. You just like communismed so hard for that.
What if I communism really softly?
You just communismed
Okay, but
intensely.
just now the drama that you add, right?
The what?
The drama level that you were able to
Oh.
exhibit would be what I would say you maintain it, so that people will understand why you're gonna win and not me.
Yeah. So like the energy. No, like the energy and like the confidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like that just now the how I
The
call it,
flow.
trend, yeah, and the flow towards
Yeah.
that peak of your
It's public speaking.
points. Yeah.
Good job, you're learning. Also, you podcast host.
That's different.
It does. It's like same concept, just reshuffled.
I've betrayed my 10-year-old values.
Do I not public speak?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. We all betray ourselves at some point.
New age, new life decisions.
New age, new mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay. The delegate on my left will now make his concluding statements.
So this delegate has been thankful for a very fruitful discussion. He has addressed this delegate's point of perspective, which is saying that how certain firewall aspects could actually be possible to allow for the 1 hour limit ban to be attainable or achievable. However, this delegate shall still stick to his stance that through such as different supplying of laptops or different ways of weaving around, such as maybe purchasing from external countries, even with the VPN that can be maneuvered in such a way that will allow different contexts of the achievement of this 1 hour limit or even deviating from it, all this actually still constitutes to the fact that it is not attainable for this time period. Therefore, this delegate hopes to see how China would continue to implement certain measures to allow this delegate and the other surrounding aspects or individuals to understand how this 1 hour limit will continue to take place in an effective manner. Thank you.
As the chair, we have heard both delegates' concluding statements, and the chair believes that the stance of being able to achieve this 1 hour limit is attainable. We also considered the other delegates' point on certain barriers that would prevent a successful implementation of this limit. All in all, this was a fruitful discussion, and we shall end it here. Sure, this is the outro disclaimer. So this has been this week's episode of the Socially Awkward Podcast Shorts. As stated earlier, this is not necessarily representative of any of our actual views on this topic. In MUN, you were given a stance and a current event, and you are just supposed to take a stand on it and make your argument and your case based off of that, and we wanted to just simulate that as an example for people who might be interested in joining Model UN, whether you're a homeschooler or not. And that has been this week's short. Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing more of us, you can find full episodes of our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube here, naturally. And if you want, you can also follow us on Instagram at the.sociallyawkwardpodcast, and that is where you get to find out more information about our lovely guest, Titus. All right, and we will see you guys next time.